We're not selling transactions. We are selling transformations in people's homes. We're selling that loyalty and trust, and so we are really offering people that customer service experience. And because of this great customer service experience, they will pay a premium price for that, and so making sure that we get candidates in or new owners that can lead teams, follow marketing plans, and manage numbers can really lead to a wonderful, successful business.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to the latest edition of Fran Coach's Franchising 101 podcast. I am Tim Parmeter, founder and CEO of Fran Coach and your podcast host. Today we are going to have a guest come in and talk to us about not one, not two, but three different brands that they represent under one big, massive umbrella, but really focus on three brands that kind of fall into that super unsexy repair category of home service. So looking forward to talking to him about these brands. First, always want to do a quick reminder of who we are. And Fran Coach is a national search firm dedicated to working with individuals interested in owning a franchise. Number one goal is to help properly educate you on franchise ownership to determine if this is the right path for you. Maybe it's not, and that's okay, but maybe it is. If so, we're going to help you find your absolute best franchise to own. We're partnered with well over 600 franchises, 70 plus industries, a huge range. We're here to help you figure that out. That's us. Now let's roll into our guest. All right. So that is a bit about us. Now let's get to our guest. And joining us today is the Vice President of Franchise Development from Neighborly, Mr. Trent Huey. Trent, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Tim. Glad to be here.
We are excited to talk to you. We get a much longer, more formal or informal setting. And you were kind enough to be a guest on the Franchising 360 show, our TV show a couple of weeks ago, and joined us in our studio in Florida. So you get to be remote in lovely Waco today. And we're not bringing the pretty with us today with Danielle not being here. So we'll have to battle it out, but I appreciate you hopping on here again and talking to us more about Neighborly.
Absolutely. I can't wait to get my Emmy, next year when they come out. So yeah, thanks for having me on the podcast. I appreciate it. Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know if podcasts have awards like is it a potty? I don't like that. Doesn't sound good.
Right. We'll have to find one. Right.
Worst award name ever. So, we got a bunch to talk about because we have not just one brand. We've got a few brands to talk about today within Neighborly, but give us this franchising is a people business. Give us a little of the scoop on Trent and how'd you get into this crazy world?
I've got a very weird career path. So I'll start with this. I am a Waco native, born and raised, graduated from Baylor University. I have been happily married for 18 years now. My wife, Courtney, and I have 3 kids, 14-year-old son, 11-year-old daughter and a 9-year-old daughter. I graduated from Baylor with a degree in education. So I started my career as a high school physics and chemistry teacher, coached high school football, wanted to do all those types of things. My wife was a teacher. Took me about 10 years to realize teachers don't make a lot of money. I went to go work in the oil field.
It took you 10 years to figure that out?
10 years. So I'm not very good at math, apparently. Okay. So I went to go work in the oil field for about 6 years, and I worked for a company called Boots and Coots, traveled all over the world, put out oil well fires, lots of time in the Middle East, North Africa, Gulf of Mexico, and I got tired of missing my kids. And, growing up in Waco, you would hear great things about Neighborly. Used to be the Dwyer Group, and took a chance nine years ago and have grown from an FD with Mr. Electric to now I get to oversee the development of 3 of our wonderful brands.
So, and we definitely want to talk about those 3 wonderful brands. But let's go back. So, 6 years in the oil industry, traveling all over the place. My lovely wife, Danielle, and I recently watched Landman. And I don't know if you've seen that or not, but okay. So on the scale of accuracy of that show versus your experience.
Well, there are landmen around. I don't know how involved they get with the cartel. I think the cartel stuff is a little bit made up a little bit, but yeah, all the oil field stuff they talk about is very accurate. in terms of the amount of money, the amount of oil they produce. I mean, all the numbers that they are throwing around it's extremely accurate. The man camps, living away from your family and being out in the middle of nowhere, that's all 100% accurate. I think the cartel stuff is a little bit made up to make a great storyline, but it's pretty accurate.
Yeah, kind of crazy, and having driven through Midland, Odessa a couple times, just like a couple moves back and forth from Texas to Arizona. Not the prettiest place on earth, unless I guess you like oil and crap tons of money, right? So
exactly, it is a flat piece of land that has lots of money underground.
Not as pretty as Waco.
No, not near as pretty as Waco. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So what, of course, the prettiest thing in Waco is not anything Chip and Joanna have done. It is clearly Neighborly. And so give us a little, we've had, you're certainly not the first Neighborly joker to come on here and talk to us. But for maybe somebody that hasn't selfishly heard every single podcast episode yet, who the heck is Neighborly?
Yeah, so Neighborly is the world's largest home service franchisor. We specifically focus on the home and all the services that have to do with the home. We have 32 total brands across the United States, Canada, and then over in Europe, but with 19 service verticals specifically in the United States and Canada markets. We continue to thrive with providing our customers with wonderful service experiences. And that's what life is all about. Life is all about experiences.
Can you name all 19?
I cannot. I can name maybe 12 of them, and I always forget the ones that we've had. I used to be able to rattle it off real quick, and then we added a bunch in a few years, and I can't remember the other ones.
I was at a franchise kind of a mini conference, and you were there too a couple months back, and I was sitting with one. I'm like, oh crap, I forgot that one. Like literally I had forgotten that one was a Neighborly brand too. So shame on me. With 3 of which we like all 19, but we like 3 of them the most because those are your 3. So what are your 3 that you're focused on?
Yep. So I'm lucky enough to have 3 of the 4 Misters: Mr. Electric, Mr. Appliance, and Mr. Rooter are the 3 that I oversee.
Okay. And in franchising, I usually say we ain't too bright. So what a franchise is named is usually pretty obvious as to what they are, but really high level on those 3. What are they doing?
Yeah. So Mr. Electric focuses on residential and light commercial electrical service work, not new construction, not getting any of that, but electrical service work. Anything from, hey, my fan isn't working right, light's not coming on, plug's not working, to smart home automation, connected home, EV chargers, so you name it, they can do it. Mr. Appliance really kind of speaks for itself. It is the only appliance repair franchise in the entire United States, and that's exactly what they do. They fix the heart of the home, which is your appliances. And then Mr. Rooter is obviously everybody's favorite. You don't like living in a home where the toilets don't flush, water's leaking. Mr. Rooter is our plumbing service franchise that focuses on the service side of the plumbing industry.
Okay, so electric and plumbing, I think for the most part, people understand that the need, probably have been a customer of something in there from time to time. Appliance is, and maybe I'm the only person when I first started doing this, I'm like, wait, there's a franchise for appliance repair. Is that really a thing? Talk about I guess maybe dispel that myth a little bit and talk a little bit more in depth about what Mr. Appliance is doing and who those customers are.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it used to be Sears. Sears isn't with us anymore. You get all of your appliances from Sears. If something happened, you would call Sears. They would come fix it. Well, as Sears started to back away from doing that type of work, Mr. Appliance came about in the mid-90s, started from scratch in Waco, Texas, here at Neighborly. And they solely focus on fixing people's appliances. Now there are local mom and pop appliance repair shops. Usually it's just a guy in a truck in a hometown going to fix things. A lot of times it takes a long time to get them to come out, if they even come out at all, because a lot of times they are actually selling appliances, doing other things on top of trying to do this appliance repair work. So this is where Mr. Appliance comes in, getting service next day, same day. to come out and fix the washer that's broken, the dryer that's broken, the dishwasher that's not broken, those appliances that you need to use in your house every single day.
So this is one a little different than electric and rooter. At times, those can really be emergency situations. Not always,
Absolutely.
but certainly can be. Appliances is in that repair category. So it's needed, but like it may not have the same level of urgency. You're probably not getting a lot of calls at 2 a.m. for Mr. Appliance. Do you find that to be the kind of accurate where it's still the repair, but a little less of the emergency aspect?
Absolutely. We're not getting calls at 2 a.m. on a Saturday morning saying, hey, my dishwasher's not working. That's something
Right.
that can usually wait till Monday. Everybody can wash their dishes for a day and a half if need be. But yes, when your washer does go out, that is something that wants to be looked at, within 2-3 days. That way you don't have laundry piling up. But yes, it is definitely not as emergent as, hey, this pipe is leaking in my attic. I need help turning this water off, get it fixed. You got to get that fixed immediately. Or, hey, my panel is sparking. I need to get this fixed. So those are definite emergencies. Fixing appliances, not so much.
Electrical fire, my dishwasher doesn't work.
Exactly.
Right?
You've got to weigh the two for sure.
Slight difference. Does like with appliances, a lot of times there's like some, there might be a warranty or something like that. How does that impact the business with Mr. Appliance?
Yeah, so Mr. Appliance does a lot of warranty work as well. I use this story all the time. We renovated our house about 6 years ago. We bought one of those, small GE refrigerators that everybody has that can hold wine bottles, Coke cans, water bottles. It stopped working in about 6 months. So we called GE like we should have. The soonest that they could get a technician out was 8 weeks. So now you're left with, do I not use this little mini fridge for 8 weeks waiting for a tech to come out, or do I call Mr. Appliance? I called Mr. Appliance to come out. They were out in 2 days and they got the situation fixed. It was really that simple. So that's what you get with warranty type work. In a lot of areas, Mr. Appliance is that warranty repair person because there aren't people in the area to actually go out there and fix the appliances.
And speaking of Mr. Appliance and Mr. Appliance owners, literally in the corner of my screen was a text from now a now open Mr. Appliance owner that we both know is a former Fran Coach client, confirming that he gets to be on the podcast next week. So he's all about himself right now, not really focused on Mr. Appliance.
Wonderful.
So you want to give Logan a call and get him on board. So not only do we get to hear from Trent this week, next week, spoiler alerts, we get to hear from an owner of Mr. Appliance.
That's wonderful.
So the other two, Mr. Electric and Mr. Rooter. So I'm guessing one of the kind of maybe the fears or concerns, maybe this little myth of, gee, Trent, I love plumbing or I love electrical from the need. It's never going away. It's always going to be there. But like, I ain't no electrician, Trent. I ain't no plumber. Like, how in the world does that work?
Yeah, when people say that on the phone, that's actually music to our ears. We are actually not looking for licensed electricians or plumbers. Now, obviously, if they are looking at this and want to get into it, then by all means, we'll have those conversations and make sure they're a good fit. But, we've come to realize a lot of our best owners are business owners. They cannot get in a van and go do work. Does the license part scare them? Sometimes it does. Yeah. But at the end of the day, we show them how to get the qualifying license for the business, whether it's for Mr. Electric or Mr. Rooter. So we can show them how to get the license.
So like that's so simple for you guys, right? You do it all the time. Somebody else is sitting there going, wait, like, so I can own Mr. Electric or Mr. Rooter. I don't have to be doing the work, but there's a way in which I can get the license to be able to run the business. That's what part of, like, Absolutely. You're not doing it for them, but you're helping them be able to get those connections to get that license.
That's correct. We show them the 3 ways that most everybody does it. First we'll look in-house to see if there's a Mr. Electric or Mr. Rooter that has a license or can go get a reciprocating license in another state to qualify the business. 2, we'll show them how to hire a master electrician or master plumber on staff full-time. Or 3, show them how to, we call it leasing a license, but you're paying someone a certain amount of money a month to use their license to qualify the business, but they're not directly involved in the business on a day-to-day basis. Gotcha.
Okay. So, and again, I think it is, well, let me maybe just flip this into a question. How often do you get, kind of a new candidate looking at one of those 2 brands And right off the bat, that's their biggest concern.
All the time. That's usually everybody one or two questions. How am I going to do this if I'm not a license holder? And we get over that fear very quickly. So look, there's numerous owners that you can speak to that owned a restaurant. We're a CPA, we're a CFO, we're a VP of sales, we're a teacher, we're an engineer that don't know how to do any of this work, whether it's electric or plumbing, and they're highly successful. So through this process, we'll calm their fear, have them speak to owners and say, hey, look, I can do this and I'm successful at it. And I don't know how to operate a pipe wrench. I couldn't, install a light plug if I wanted to.
Right. And they're going to say, good, don't.
Exactly.
Right.
They'll all say that. And in fact, a lot of our, Mr. Electrics who are electricians and plumbers will say, hey, look, I would have been more successful at the start if I was just a business owner, not an electrician or plumber. They've come to that realization.
Yeah. And which again was kind of where I was going to go. There are some owners in your system that are master plumbers, are master electricians, probably still doing the work. That's okay.
Absolutely.
Right? But so you're not telling those folks no. And I think really probably going to lead to another thing that comes up sometimes is they may not be, if that person is the electrician and the owner and out doing the work, they might not grow the business to be as big as somebody that can't possibly do the work, but can manage 6 different trucks out there, but they might still be super happy. Right.
Oh, 100%. Oh, absolutely. We have quite a few owners that are still like that. And, they're still happy. They're doing very well for themselves. And we try to tell them all the time, you need to get out of the truck at some point to work on the business and not in the business. And that's what we've seen from our electricians and, master plumbers who, when they finally did get out of the truck, their business really took off because they could focus on the business at that point in time.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can get the licensing piece accomplished pretty easily. So then the next step is, okay, well, now I have to manage, I have to hire and then manage people doing something I have no clue how to do. How am I going to find that person that is the skilled electrician or plumber? How am I going to communicate and manage them? Talk a little bit about how Neighborly is helping with those things.
That is a great question. So this kind of is a general role of Neighborly answer to this question. So Neighborly has a vendor through ProTradeNet called Paradox. Paradox is our pretty much our one-stop shop for bringing in top-tier talent into your business. So there are generated questions already dedicated towards electric, plumbing, appliance repair that can ask these people looking for jobs, or maybe they have resumes posted and we reach out to them from that standpoint, or Paradox reaches out to them to bring in that top-tier talent. But you also have a plethora of electric owners, plumbing owners who can also help interview some of these people for starting off to make sure that you're bringing in that right first guy.
Right. Cause it's like, okay, I can trust if you're going to become a franchise owner, follow the plan, trust the system.
Absolutely.
Right. But there's still that the people element, right? So somebody within the franchise system, whether another owner or whoever, like actually would be willing to take some time to help me make sure I'm hiring the right person at the beginning.
Absolutely. That's one of the great things about Neighborly. We all have the big N on our chest. We're all on the same team, and they love seeing other owners be successful in this venture. Our owners are very willing to help, have these new owners, come visit their shop, see how they're doing, do ride-arounds, ride-alongs. They're very invested in the success because if our owners are successful, we're successful. And the more owners that we have out there, the more vans, the better everybody is.
Yeah. So you've got that. Talk a little bit about some of the other, I mean, we could go for hours on support within Neighborly, right?
Oh, yeah.
But what's maybe one or two, you mentioned the ProTradeNet or the Paradox, and I just accidentally said the name of one of the other ones, right? But
right.
Which I know you're going to get to anyway, but talk about maybe one or two other things where you're like, you're not even going to believe how much we're going to support you with this or with this.
Yeah, that's one of the questions we get. What do we get when we come with Neighborly? What are my royalties? What do my license fees pay for? Right. What does that pay for? And obviously we say support, but I'd say one of the biggest things that you get, or a couple of the biggest things are, first off, our brands are siloed. So a marketing person for Mr. Rooter, they only work with Mr. Rooter. It's not a marketing person that works with Rooter Electric and, let's say, Shelf Genie, one of our other brands. So our marketing teams are very siloed on purpose to really drive the customer retention, reaching out to customers, getting in front of new customers for each individual brand. So I think that's something that is very unique to Neighborly, because now that local marketing person, the brand marketing manager, they can really dial into, all I'm focused on right now is driving customer acquisition for Mr. Rooter and not across 3 brands. So it can be very customer specific for each individual brand. And I say I guess I'll mention 2 more. ProTradeNet, obviously one, our vendor network that's designed to not only give rebates back, but save money on anything that you buy in the business, but then just being a part of the Neighborly team and having access to, 5,700 owners, what's worked for them, what hasn't worked for them, being part of that big team and being able to reach out to them, share marketing ideas, train service professionals together. All those types of things are very invaluable in this business.
So I want to go back to the marketing for a second, because I love the fact that you've got somebody for they are siloed. They do marketing for Mr. Rooter. They're going to know it like inside and out, right? But there's also the cross marketing that goes on a little bit. So because to me, that's just like a killer advantage for a Neighborly owner, especially at the beginning. So share a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So one of the other benefits is with all the millions of customers that we have across all of Neighborly, is they are customers of all of our brands, so we can actually send out mass marketing emails in areas where our brands overlap. Let's just say Dallas, Texas, for instance. Let's say we have 12 brands. Those 12 brands can share customer databases. Our marketing team can access all the customers that we have there and send mass emails out. Maybe it's mass mailers out, mass door hangers, whatever it might be. We can send those out to all the customers in the area saying, hey, look, we know that you've used Mr. Electric in the past. We also have Mr. Rooter, Molly Maid, Grounds Guys, Air Serve for any of your home service needs that you might have. So having access to an exponential amount of customers because they are part of the Neighborly system is very valuable.
Right. Hey, I trusted or trust this company to do X, Y, and Z for me in my house. Oh, look, here's one of here's another, because I think all of the vehicles, right? Like the vans or the trucks, it's like half and half, right? Half wrapped for Mr. Rooter and then half for Neighborly, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Something
each
pretty close
van
to
is
that.
going to have a blue or a white end on a blue, background. And then the other part's going to say the actual brand name. So you'll see in areas like Dallas, you could see hundreds of vans driving around with that Neighborly in.
Yeah. And but we had one of our most recent team calls for Fran Coach. One of our coaches came on, was Lisa Rios, and she had a flyer from, she and her husband, they'd been a Neighborly customer for one brand. A new one was coming in, and she got the flyer like, hey, now open, like, and literally was showing it on the team call to everybody, because we hear it all the time when we're working with Neighborly, but it was actually kind of cool to see.
It's great to actually see it work and see it in motion. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and then come back to the ProTradeNet, because I'm always fascinated by this and some of the ways, like, helping people kind of save money on things, but there's even a little bit more to it than that. With like, talk a little bit about kind of what that is and what that's doing.
Yeah, so ProTradeNet is a company within Neighborly. There are, I believe, around 290 vendors in this network, and their one job is to save money on, let's say it's office supplies, uniforms, maybe it's some extra marketing that you're wanting to do. Maybe it's a van, fuel cards, health insurance, dental insurance, vision insurance, all those things that you need in a company. We go to these companies and say, hey, look, we're going to have X amount of owners coming in, spending X amount of money. What kind of discounts can you give us off of everyday rates? Plus they get rebates back for using them. So it's not only saving them money, but you're going to get a check back once a quarter for going through ProTradeNet and using these vendors. And again, you don't have to go out there and source them. We've done all the sourcing. So Each owner has their own login information to get into ProTradeNet, see who I need to call and speak with to find these discounts.
And so we're saving money on, and again, it could be something really small, but again, like, it's the van. Like, you guys are getting this cheaper than the dealership across the street's going to get, right?
Absolutely, yes. Yes, 100%.
From that buying power. So it's really helping those margins, right? So like, I'm spending less than, my competition over here, like Billy Bob's Electric. Billy Bob ain't getting the same discounts. Like, maybe he's got a little 10% thing over at Home Depot or whatever. Yeehaw. But your guys are getting it across the board, and you've got a whole team within Neighborly, like, basically bullying the vendors, right? I'm sure you guys have a nicer way to say it,
right.
but like, like give us the best rates or we're going over here. So, and again, your owners don't, correct me if I'm wrong, they don't have to do, if they've got a local connection somewhere that like, oh, my brother does blah, 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 I don't want to go through Pro Trade Net. They can do that, but for the most part, it's enabling them to get everything that they need at a huge discount and then also get some money kicked back to them on a quarterly basis. It's pretty incredible.
You're 100% correct on that. Yeah. I mean, who doesn't like getting a check back once a quarter for buying things you're going to buy in your business every day?
Yeah. How do I get that?
Exactly. Right.
Right. Oh, I got to be an owner of
back from Amazon or Amazon. I need to get a check back from Amazon.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So, okay. So that's cool. And then, talk to me a little bit about kind of that startup phase, right? Because all things with home service, we're not looking at big, class A real estate to build things out. What's that kind of starting point? And I know they may vary slightly with these three, but I also know they're pretty close. What are we looking at to get started? Like, do we need a space? Do we need stuff? Do we need people? How do we typically begin?
That's a wonderful question. So Mr. Electric can be a home-based business starting out. Mr. Appliance and Mr. Rooter, they do like you to start with a small office space, 600 square feet starting out. It does not need to be on Main Street. This is basically just an office, small meeting space. Those two brands tend to do a little better when they run out of an office and not based out of the home starting out like Mr. Electric does. But with all of our brands, I generally say start with a CSR and at least one technician at a minimum. That CSR is there to answer the phones, book the appointments, make sure the technicians are dispatched to where they need to go, but also do follow-up calls on maybe a job that didn't close. They're going to call Miss Smith back next week and say, hey, we had Joe out to your house to do this, check this faucet that was leaking or check this appliance. Would you like us to come back out and do this job? So do follow-up calls. But always start with a CSR, start with one technician, and grow from there. I'm a firm believer, crawl before you walk before you run. And we have numerous owners across our brands that do want to start with 2 trucks, 2 technicians, and that's completely fine as well.
And you can typically start with a territory, but I know sometimes you can start with more than one, but it is possible for people to grow into having multiple territories with these, correct?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Yes, sir. We're looking to see them expand. Absolutely.
And then I think one of the cool features with Neighborly is, yes, I could start with Mr. Electric and start with one territory, one tech, one CSR. So I start small, I build it up. I can grow to multiple territories, but I could also come back to you guys and go, I wouldn't mind having Mr. Rooter. I wouldn't mind having one of the other brands to kind of stack on top of each other, correct?
Oh, yes. So we have numerous owners that not only own multiple Mr. Electrics, but also own multiple concepts. One comes to mind. We've got the Walters, Joe and Katie Walters in Illinois. They own 3 Mr. Appliances and now 3 Mr. Rooters. We've got Tyler Watson in St. Louis. He owns a Mr. Electric, Mr. Rooter, and AirServe. The great thing about that is they all use the same operating software.
Right.
So you can have one CSR that sits here, answers the phone, and they can answer it for Mr. Electric. The next call might be the phone number for Mr. Rooter. And so because it's the same operating software, it's very easy for them to go back and forth between the 2 brands.
So it's one thing, it's nice to be able to refer a customer over to another Neighborly owner, but it's even better when you're referring it to yourself.
To yourself. So, let me just walk across the hall. Absolutely. Yes. Wonderful.
So does anybody have one of all 19?
Not one of 19. Lee Downing, one of our owners, he does have, I believe, 5 brands. I think he's our largest one that has the most brands. I think he's up to 5, if I remember correct.
Okay. Well, I'd like one of each if we can. Yes, we can get that started. So let's see how that goes over with my wife. So, which probably would be the only place I would get it was where I live in Arizona because it's in the middle of nowhere. And,
right.
Otherwise, otherwise you guys are pretty much like everywhere, but also still tons of space with, especially for you with the 3 brands, but tons of room all over the country for continued growth and expansion, correct?
Oh, yes. Tons of available markets, available territory for Electric Rooter and Appliance. So lots of prime territories as well. Boston is one that comes to mind. for all three brands. So yes, there's still some very large markets that are available out there for not only these three brands, but all of Neighborly as well.
I want to go back to the owner for a second for these three. Do you allow for any semi-absentee owners for these three?
So we like to call it in transition. So I know Mr. Electric is more receptive to that than, let's say, Appliance or Rooter, but if they have the right team in place, and the owner knows that, hey, I am going to have to spend some time working on this business, but also, hey, I'm going to keep my full-time job for 12 months in transition to a full-time owner, that is acceptable. As long as they are good at time management. That's one of the things that we're going to really discuss. How good are you at time management, time blocking to spend the amount of time that you need to make sure that this business is successful? Because the last thing we want to do is have someone get in business and not be successful because they're not putting the right amount of time into it.
Yeah. And it's usually going to increase the investment a little bit because you got to hire an additional person.
You're going to hire someone else and pay a GM or pay someone to be running the thing. But yes, I mean, we have numerous validators. Dave Kirkwood in Wichita, Kansas is a triple amputee and engineer. He kept his full-time job for, I believe it was 6 years before he transitioned out of his engineer job. It was wonderful. So absolutely, it can be validated with all three brands.
Excellent. Okay. And then last little thing I'm going to throw out to you, and this is super open-ended, and I'm sure you can go a million different directions with this, but you got one more question to answer, brother. So what's one thing that maybe we haven't talked about for these brands and for Neighborly that you want to make sure, like, we got to make sure we talk about this before I let you go?
I'd say this is kind of more general for all of Neighborly. But when you're in the service industry, we're in the sales industry. We're not selling transactions. We are selling transformations in people's homes. We're selling that loyalty and trust, and so we are really offering people that customer service experience. And because of this great customer service experience, they will pay a premium price for that, and so making sure that we get candidates in or new owners that can lead teams, follow marketing plans, and manage numbers can really lead to a wonderful, successful business.
Yeah, because you're not looking at trying to be like, hey, we're the cheapest electrician or plumber or whatever. It's high quality, which is going to, I'm guessing, repeat business as needed. If I've got a pipe burst, I don't want you to come back. I want to never see you again, but I might need some other plumbing work. But a lot of referrals are probably happening from other home service brands, Neighborly or not, realtors, property managers. Like, really being that trusted provider in the community based on that quality is key, correct?
Oh, all of the above. I had Mr. Rooter out to our house not 3 weeks ago to descale our hot water heater, which hadn't been done in 5 years. So anybody listening, it needs to be done at least once a year. So call your local Mr. Rooter to have your hot water heater descaled.
Tell him Trent sent you.
Exactly. Yeah, Trent sent you. We had a water softener system put in, but he also went above and beyond and climbed under our house. We're on pier and beam just to double check the pipes. And turns out some of the pipes under our house have 90s where they're supposed to have Ys. So he's going to come back and fix that part of it. But we were mentioning, or sometimes our toilets just get clogged out of just random. And he crawled in the house. He's like, well, you've got 90s where you should have Ys, and that's why. So we went above and beyond to diagnose a problem. And we had Mr. Electric out a while back as well. We had a panel that was inside our house. Was built in the 50s. It was a knob and tube panel inside the house above my wife's desk. When they came and diagnosed the problem, he's like, look, we can fix this here, but you've got a young son around. This is when our son was about 1.5, 2. He could climb up on the desk, open this panel up, and electrocute himself. He's like, I would recommend moving this outside. I said, 100% move that outside. It's not safe anymore. So just bringing these types of things to people's attention for what they weren't even called out there for to make a home safer helps build that trust.
Absolutely. I love it. Cool. Trent, thank you. Always great chatting with you. I appreciate you coming on and on the podcast here to talk about Mr. Appliance, Mr. Electric, and Mr. Rooter and Neighborly overall. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Tim. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks again to Trent Huey, Vice President of Franchise Development for Neighborly, talking to us today about Mr. Rooter, Mr. Electric, and Mr. Appliance. Hopefully this provides some more insight into the amazing possibilities that can be achieved in the world of franchising. If and when you are ready to chat a little bit more, please reach out to our team here at FranCoach. FranCoach.net is where you're going to find us. Again, always Team FranCoach with the Franchising 101 podcast. Never any fee for our service. We're here to help you figure out if you should own one, and if so, which. Quick reminder, next week on the podcast, we actually have an owner of one of these 3 brands coming on to tell us if Trent was full of crap today or if everything was pretty accurate and how things are going for him. Tomorrow, if you are listening today, Friday the 4th, and every Friday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on Biz TV is where you're going to find our ridiculously amazing TV show, the Franchising 360 show. A couple weeks ago, Trent was kind enough to be in studio with us. We have a guest tomorrow about a food franchise, the CEO of Dickey's Barbecue Pit. If you are hungry, eat something before you watch that show, because you're going to be starving after hearing about all the barbecue stuff at Dickey's. So check that out on Biz TV. And again, everything now FranCoach you can find on one clever little YouTube channel for FranCoach. You can click that here. Find us just FranCoach at YouTube. We're here to help you find out everything you want to know about franchising, and probably a whole bunch you didn't. So check us out. Until next week, we will talk to you then here on the Franchising 101 podcast. We'll see you then. Thanks.